Hello everyone and welcome back to our Bind Let's Play of Virtue's Last Reward. I am the FlightlessBird and this is your story-based gaming channel. And what the heck, you two? You know, I had almost titled last episode No Reason to Betray because, and in fact that's actually what I named the original file, but I changed it to Zero Revealed instead. But that's how I felt about this vote. I didn't feel like there was any reason to betray. You have 8 points. Why did you need to betray? That doesn't make any sense. You two are idiots. I mean, okay, they're not idiots. They're actually pretty calculating and smart. But come on, man. You know, unlike previous episodes, I'm actually going to wait to see what they have to say. And I'm going to let this play out, and then I'm going to go off on them. So let's see if they actually have anything intelligible to say. Maybe they'll just say, hey, we chose betray because we didn't trust you. But now that we do trust you, we're not going to leave. And instead, we're going to continue voting. Maybe. I don't think so. But maybe. Oh, by the way, Clover's also at 9 points. So something to keep in the back of our mind. Hey! What the heck, you guys? Yeah, exactly. I love it when Sigma and I are on the same page. Why'd you betray me?
Quark had nothing to do with this. I made the vote.
Grandpa.
Alright, fine. Why'd you break your promise, Tenmyouji?
I only promised you one thing. We wouldn't open the number 9 door even if we got 9 points.
What? So you're not going to leave?
Not what I said. Of course we're going to leave.
I hate these guys. I hate these guys so much. Now wait. So what you're gonna say is, Quark didn't promise this, or you're gonna say, oh, Clover is gonna leave, so we're gonna follow Clover out, right?
Look, see Clover over there?
What? Don't tell me. What a piece of... So no matter what happens, there's nothing we can do in this ending?
Oh no.
Because no matter what happens, Clover's gonna have 9 points?
Jeez.
That bitch!
You know, I hate to say this, but for the one rare time in my life, and in Dio's life, we actually agree on something. That stupid piece of...
Wait. Quark and Tenmyouji have...
The words were barely out of her mouth when Tenmyouji and Quark ran past.
No! God damn it!
Clover, are you really going to leave?
Well, yeah. Why else would I open the door?
But why?
I'm going to go call the others, so we can capture Zero Senior.
Tenmyouji, are you and Quark going too?
Yeah. Sorry about that.
Sorry, everybody.
All the dots. All that you still didn't need to betray me, you bastard dots.
So Sigma, happy?
No. There's nothing in this about anything, anywhere, or anyone who's happy right now. Like, not Clover, because Alice is dead. Not Quark, because look at Quark. Quark is like, oh, I got a grandpa who's a two-faced, slimy piece of... I don't know what to say right now.
I kept my promise.
Go to heck.
Clover opened the door, not me.
Like heck, I'm happy. That's some shady bull garbage, Tenmyouji.
If you say so. I have to get out of here, and that's that. He's got to pay for what he's done.
He?
Zero.
You mean you know who Zero Senior is?
They saw the message too.
Yeah. No point keeping it a secret now, I suppose. I know exactly who Zero Senior is.
Wait.
What?
I know you're all leaving and stuff, but could you at least tell me before you go? Don't be a total piece of trash.
9 door.
Yes, I know it's been open and out, so yes, it'll be open 9
Let's
seconds.
go.
Yeah.
Come on, guys. Time to move.
Right.
No, before you go, tell me who he is.
Oh, wait! This is for you, Mr. Sigma.
Quirk held something out. I looked down to see 2 pieces of folded paper. What is this?
It's a letter. I wrote it in the director's office before the AB game.
Before the AB game? Before? That doesn't help me. I didn't know what happened afterwards. All the dots.
I wanted to tell you what kind of guy Grandpa is. So, read it, okay?
No, I know what type of guy Grandpa is. Grandpa is the type of guy who will leave everyone else to die because he's a selfish piece of trash. And it's not the first time he did it. You see, I should have known from the previous viewpoint that it wasn't the first time he did it. And I almost chose betray, but I'm like, no, I'm going to believe in him. Because why would you need to betray? Like I said, I thought about naming that video. Why would he betray? Because there's no reason for a betrayal. And yet he's still betrayed. He pressed it in my hand.
See you later, Mr. Sigma.
Then he turned and ran toward the door. Tenmyouji and Clover following in his footsteps. I was so surprised by the letter, I didn't even try to stop them. Before I could think of anything to say.
See you.
Goodbye.
Well, on the plus side, this is the most people we've ever gotten out of the 9 door. I mean, 3, right?
The number 9 door has closed.
You know, and I'm going off on Tenmyouji, but what real person I should be going off is Clover! Clover! What the heck is wrong with you? I mean, I'm spent. I got nothing more to say.
This ends the Nonary game. Thank you for your participation.
Thank you for playing. Have a wonderful life as you all die a horrible death.
As the game is over, all doors other than the number 9 door have been unlocked.
Although, you know, I say that, but this is kind of like Danganronpa. The truth of the matter is, there's probably enough food and water here to last us for, you know, an eternity. And I'm pretty sure there's one ending you can get in Danganronpa. It's actually not an ending, so to speak, because they tell you what happens, and then they like flash back to your choice, basically saying you can't pick that choice. But this is what would have happened if you picked that choice. That's kind of like, you know, this situation here, where you know, everyone is going to end up, you know, in this building for the rest of our lives, and you know, we're gonna have to start our own community. If that's true though, I just want to say that Luna, hey girl, how you doing? Would you like someone to spend time with? We can go out to the garden bee and sit by the bench and you know, watch the evil line fountain. Yeah, I think that sounds good.
Escape is not possible. Please enjoy your stay.
All the dots. There better be something good in this freaking letter dots. I'm telling you. I know this is a game
Shit.
over, but I want at least something useful to be in that stupid letter.
They're gone.
All we can do now is hope they bring help back.
Like hell.
Indeed.
I agree.
All the dots. Yeah, that's not happening, dots. I looked down at Quirk's letter and slowly unfolded it. His handwriting was still slightly uneven, but he filled both pages with writing. I began to read. Nothing else I'm gonna do with all my decades of time. It was a really stormy day when he found me. He said the rain was coming down so hard it almost hurt, but somehow he managed to hear a baby crying. I guess I must have been crying pretty loud. He took me home and did his best to raise me, but he'd never been married or had a kid before, so I think it was really hard for him. He couldn't figure out how to mix the formula, so he was always carrying the directions around with him. Also, I guess I was a pretty picky eater, so if he didn't get the water to formula ratio just right, I wouldn't eat it. I guess it was kind of a pain, huh? But he did give up, and now here I am. When he found me, I was really, really small, and he was worried that I might not make it. That's why he named me Quirk, A quirk is really small thing, and I was really small too. Grandpa didn't need to worry though, because it turned out that I was pretty tough. When I was 1, he forgot I was sleeping in the bed of his truck and drove off. I rolled off and went off the back, but I didn't even get scratched. I started walking when I was 2, and when he wasn't looking, I fell down the stairs. I didn't get hurt then either. When I was 3, I got really sick. I had a super high fever for a week, but eventually I got better. I guess you could say I'm pretty lucky. Anyway, I didn't really have any more accidents after that, and I was a pretty healthy kid. By the time I was 6, I started helping Grandpa out with his work. His job was to gather junk from abandoned buildings. Then he'd fix it up or pull out the useful parts and sell them. There were plenty of abandoned buildings, but finding good stuff in them was hard. You had to know which parts were useful, or you could end up wasting a bunch of time. Every time I'd find something, he'd explain to me what it was, how it was supposed to work, how to fix it, all sorts of things. Usually though, I just wanted to finish up work so I could go to the theater. The theater came to our town once a week in a wagon. They'd show old news or movies. I went every single week, but Grandpa only went once in a while, and he'd only go weeks when they showed movies. Oh yeah, I didn't know that I'd been adopted until I was 7. One of the other kids on my block told me. I guess after Grandpa found me, he looked all over town to try and find somebody who'd take me. The kid from my block actually had a mom, and he'd ask her if she would take me too. I gotta admit, I was pretty shocked when I heard that. There weren't a lot of kids with parents around, so hearing that someone lived with his actual mom was pretty impressive. I was also kind of surprised that Grandpa had tried to get someone else to take me. Did that mean he didn't want me? The kid who told me about Grandpa trying to get rid of me was a real jerk. He was totally spoiled, and he bragged to everybody about how he had a mom. He liked to come up to me while I was working and say stuff like, "Must be hard not having a mother." It never bothered me before, but after I found out that Grandpa had adopted me, I started to think that maybe he really didn't want me. If I could work on my own, then he could get rid of me. I was scared to know the truth, so I never asked him. Then one day he took me to a bar in our neighborhood. During the day, of course. He went there sometimes to drink scotch, but I'd never gone before. When we got in, he just walked up to the counter with that grumpy look he has and thought, "Oh no, he's gonna make me work here," but I was wrong. I saw him pass something up to the bartender, and then he picked me up and set me down on a stool next to the counter. The stool was pretty high, especially for a 7-year-old kid, and my legs just dangled off of it. It seemed really high to me, and I was pretty nervous. Eventually, the bartender came back over with a glass of scotch and a big glass full of something else. As I looked closer, I realized that the second glass was full of some sort of brown liquid with a scoop of ice cream in it. Is that a root beer float? I love root beer floats. That's like my favorite thing in the world. It took me a minute to realize what it was. A root beer float. Yes! It is a root beer float! I never seen one before. I was so surprised. Root beer was even more expensive than the nicest alcohol in the bar. To me and the other kids, it seemed more like an urban legend than a real drink. But there it was, right in front of me. I stared at the float. I still wasn't sure it was real at that point, and then turned to look back at Grandpa. He looked back at me. I didn't know what to do, so I turned to the bartender. He'd already turned around and moved off, though, so I figured he must have put the glass down in front of me on purpose. It still didn't seem like it could be real, and I was just staring at it when Grandpa told me to hurry up and drink before the ice cream melted. His gruff voice sounded like an angel's. "Is this really mine?" He nodded. Words can't describe how awesome it was. I never tasted anything like root beer before. The creamy sweetness of the ice cream made my entire head feel light. I felt like the luckiest boy in the whole world. That's not an exaggeration. I really thought that. The root beer float was delicious, but what made me even happier was Grandpa. When I looked over at him, he was smiling. I know that's gotta be hard for you to imagine, but he really was. Right then, I didn't care whether he found me and adopted me or not. He brought me a root beer float. That made me way luckier than some kid who had a mother but never tasted root beer. Of course, after we left the bar, he was the first kid I bragged to. So Grandpa and I were doing pretty good. until the fight. I was in a super bad mood that day. I torn one of my shoes that morning, and some old drunk guy had yelled at me. All the junk I found was totally useless. The day was almost over, and I was fed up, so I just grabbed some random trash and took it back to the house. When I showed what I found to Grandpa, he frowned. He started going through each thing I brought back, explaining why they were all useless. I got really mad and just yelled, "I don't care." Then he got mad, and I couldn't take it anymore, so I ran away. I was pretty upset, and I started thinking that maybe Grandpa had only adopted me, so he could raise me to work and make money for him. After a while, I went and hid in an abandoned building, but by then I started to calm down and think that maybe I could go back and apologize. It had started raining pretty hard, though, so I decided I should wait for it to stop. But that just was an excuse. The truth was that I was nervous. Part of me knew I'd done something wrong, but I didn't want to admit it. The rain did stop though, so I just sat there staring out at the gloomy gray sky. I imagined Grandpa coming to get me. It kept raining all night, and he never showed up. I gave up waiting and decided it was time to go home. I was about halfway there when I heard somebody groaning. At first, I thought I should just ignore it and not get involved. But I went over anyway, and it was Grandpa. He was totally soaked, and I could tell right away that he'd been there for a really long time. I yelled, and he opened his eyes a little bit. He smiled weakly and said he was glad I was safe. He spent all night out in the rain looking for me. I felt awful. Grandpa had been out in the rain looking for me so long that he collapsed. I was horrible. He'd heard me crying in the rain, but I hadn't heard him. As I ran to get to the doctor, I promised whatever God might be listening that if they would only save Grandpa, I'd never ask for another root beer floaty ever again. He got a real bad fever, and his temperature wouldn't go down for days. The doctor said that if it kept up, he'd die. If he died, then I'd be all alone. There wouldn't be anybody left to care about me. The thought of that happening terrified me. Fortunately, I must have passed some of my luck on to Grandpa, because a week later his fever finally broke. I was glad he wasn't going to die, but I was also a little scared. What if he decided he didn't want a stupid kid like me around anymore? My plan was to apologize as soon as he woke up, but when the moment came, my brain just stopped. Grandpa started to talk, and it took me a minute to realize he was apologizing. I didn't know what to think. He explained that he was an old man, and that meant he was probably going to die sooner rather than later. He was strict with me because he wanted to make sure I'd be able to make it on my own after he was gone. But maybe he'd been a little too strict. All the things that I worried about have been stupid and selfish. Grandpa cared about me a whole lot. He'd been worried when I ran off, and he'd gone out into the rain to look for me. I tried to apologize, but when I opened my mouth, I just started crying. I don't think I've cried that much since I was a baby. But he just smiled and patted my head. I asked him if he'd ever regretted adopting me. His eyes got all wide and he said, "Of course not." He told me that he was looking for a really important lady, and because of that he'd had to give up on pretty much everything else in his life. But when he took me in and started raising me, he felt like he'd gotten some of what he lost back. That was when I decided I'd stay with him forever, even if he said I couldn't. Well, my friends, that is our blind Let's Play of Richie Last Reward. We got the credits. That means the game's over, right? I mean, the Chilean ones show the credits unless it was like The end. This is the real ending, you guys. Okay. If you actually believe this is the real ending, there's something wrong with you. Of course this ain't the real ending. So looking at it and thinking about this, there's a couple things I want to say. First off, Tenmyouji still didn't need to betray us. I understand why he did it. Like, if I actually stop and think about it and leave my emotions behind, if his one goal is saving Quirk, then what does he know? He knows that Clover is going to get 9 points because she's going to betray. He doesn't know that, but he feels maybe that someone could get to 9 if they hit betray. So in the back of his mind, he's thinking, okay, someone else could open the 9 door. So how do I save Quirk? If I choose ally and Sigma chooses ally, I would have enough points to leave. So if I chose ally and Sigma chose ally and someone opened the door, we can leave. However, if I chose ally and Sigma chose betray, then I wouldn't have enough points and someone could leave and we wouldn't have enough points to leave too. If I chose betray and Sigma chose betray, then we wouldn't have enough points to leave. But if Sigma chose betray, then at least I did everything in my power to try to make sure that Quirk can escape. So, thinking about it logically, I can understand why he would choose betray. Although I still don't agree with it. I still think that was a bad choice. And I still think that was kind of a dirtbag thing to do. Because at the end of the day, we were honest. We said we were going to ally. If he said he was going to ally, then we both would have had points and he wouldn't need to betray. So yeah, I just feel like that was kind of a dirtbaggy thing to do. Trophy earned in Rupir Veritas. Tenmyouji End. So the word Veritas is the word for truth. So in Rupir there is truth, I guess. So this is Tenmyouji's ending. So we did get an official end, you guys. I wonder if that's going to show up on the save screen. Let's go check it out. Let's see, 2858. I always like to keep 3 saves. This one. Well, we actually see something show up now. There's 9 boxes. I'm assuming that those 9 boxes each are a different character's ending. Moment of truth. Come on. It's going to make us wait. There we go. Tenmyouji. All right, so that is it. That is what those question boxes mean. Each one of those question boxes represent an ending for a character. And this is Tenmyouji's ending, which we happen to get first. Yeah, so if we look here, hey, we got a picture of Tenmyouji even. How about that? Tenmyouji End. So next time on, I know this is kind of a short episode. Today is New Year's Day though. So I'm gonna go out and watch football and, you know, chat with friends. But you can see here we do have Tenmyouji's Ending. Now, what does that mean? Oh wow. If you think about that, that just opened up a huge box, right? If each character has an ending, that means there's 9 other character endings here. That doesn't even count the bad ends. It doesn't even count the to be continued still. It just means that there is at least 8 other endings that we need to get before we complete this game. What will this ending be? Will this just be a game over? Or will this be a character end? This could be a Clover ending. That would be interesting. Because Clover is leaving, it would be interesting to hear what Clover said. The bottom line, though, is we got a password for bomb number 1. But we did not open up any of the locks, I don't think. We don't know the password to the computer. We don't know how Phi and K can both be saved. We don't know how to replicate, how to save our life in 5 minutes. And we don't know how to use a machine to create more antiviral medication. So what that means is if this path here doesn't give us any new information, then what we're going to do is probably go down this path next. Yeah, that's probably what we're going to do. We're working our way left to right. The reason that we skipped this path is because we had to betray Luna to go down this path. And I don't want to do that so soon. I'm putting that misery aside for later. But yeah, so we're going to have to see what goes on. The popular theory that I hear on the comment section, shared by both myself and Alphamate, is this path is probably the true ending. And the reason we think that is because in this path you can save both Alice and Quirk's life, supposedly, which means all 9 people are still going to be alive at this point in the game. In the other paths, it seems like Alice is going to die no matter what we do, because she's either going to get murdered or she's going to commit suicide. However, even though we think that, there's still more stuff to be had here, though, which could be anything. I mean, look at this flowchart. This flowchart is a monster. All right, my friends, thank you so much for everything you do. I love you guys. Happy New Year's to you all. And until next time, so long and take care. And don't trust old men when they have kids who they need to look after, because it just ends poorly. Take care, you guys. Thank you for watching this video. Feel free to comment on what you saw and what you would like to see next. I always love to hear your thoughts. Please be sure to like and subscribe for more. Also, please do not forget, you matter. You are brilliant and you are loved. And you should always remember to be true to yourself. Don't let the world tell you any different. Much love to you from your friendly feathered flightless bird. Till next time.